So if you've been thinking that this flu season feels way more intense than usual, you're not imagining things. Today, we're going to dive into the data and explain exactly what's behind this huge 2026 flu surge. Okay, to really get what's happening, I want you to look at this one number. Just let it sink in for a second. 19,053. So what is that? Well, that's the number of people hospitalized with the flu across the entire U.S. in just a single week. The week ending December 20th. But here's the really wild part. It's not just how big that number is, it's the speed. That's almost double the number from the week before. We're talking about an increase of over 9,000 people in the hospital in just 7 days. That kind of jump, well, that's what puts the entire medical community on high alert. So, that single week was pretty shocking, right? Let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture. We're going to break down the numbers for this whole season so you can really see what we're up against. According to the CDC's latest estimates, the overall impact is already just staggering. We're looking at about 7.5 million people getting sick, 81,000 hospitalizations, and sadly 3,100 deaths so far. And here's that jump I was talking about, but visualized. I mean, look at this. You can see the leap from around 10,000 hospitalizations straight up to over 19,000. That's a nearly vertical climb, and it's happening all over the country. And look, this isn't just me saying these numbers are crazy. The experts are definitely sounding the alarm. Virologist Andrew Pecos points out that while the timing of the season is kinda normal, the sheer volume of cases and how fast they're climbing is something they just don't usually see. So this all leads to one huge question. What is fueling this thing? Why is this season so different? Let's dig in. Well, it turns out the main culprit has a name. It's called Influenza A H3N2 subclade K. This is a new flu variant that was first spotted in Australia, and now it's the dominant strain that's driving this massive surge right here in the US. Now you might be wondering, is this variant more severe? Is it deadlier? So far, there's no sign of that. The real problem, as virologist Florian Kramer explains, is actually our own immune systems. Because it's a newer strain, we just don't have as much built-up immunity to it, and that's letting it spread like wildfire. Which, of course, brings us to the million-dollar question that's probably on your mind. What about the vaccine? Let's take a look at our best line of defense. This is what everybody wants to know, right? Think about it. The vaccine was developed way back in February, long before this new subclade K was even a thing. So, does it still work? Okay, let's break this down. The concern is totally valid, but the early data coming out of the UK, which got hit with this same strain before us, is actually pretty encouraging. It looks like the vaccine is about 30 to 40% effective at keeping people out of the hospital. And while that might not sound perfect, experts say that's actually right in line with what they'd expect for a typical flu season. It's still a really good tool. But here's the catch. A vaccine can only protect the people who actually get it. And as of mid-December, only 42.2% of American adults had gotten their flu shot. And that right there creates a massive protection gap. When you have a strain this contagious spreading this fast, having more than half of the entire adult population unprotected, well, it leaves all of us a lot more vulnerable. So, given everything we now know, the most important question is what can you actually do to stay safe? Let's walk through a pretty straightforward protection plan. First things first, if you haven't gotten your shot yet, it is absolutely not too late. You hear this from everyone, including CDC Medical Officer Lisa Grovskopf. Getting vaccinated now can still give you crucial protection as the season continues. The best way to think about this is a layered approach, right? It all starts with getting vaccinated. But then you can add more layers of protection, like wearing a good mask in crowded places and just being smart about social distancing. And finally, and this one is critical, if you do get sick, get help early. And let's just focus on that last point because it's so important. This is not a tough it out kind of situation. There are effective antiviral treatments that work, but, and this is a big but, they work best if you start them within the first 48 hours of your symptoms. So, if you think you have the flu, call a doctor right away. So, let's just put it all together. The soaring numbers, the incredible speed of the spread, and this new variant, they all point to one clear fact. This flu season is different. The good news is, we have the data and we have the tools to protect ourselves. So the only question left is, how will you prepare?